Welcome back to the show. As we head into the holiday season, there are a lot of things to consider, especially because we tend to overindulge. And of course, the cold weather can bring on those sniffles and sore throats. Here to help us with our holiday health fixes is Dr. Joyce Johnson. Dr. Johnson, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Joyce, I mentioned off the top there, we're going to be overindulging. So let's start with that aspect of it. And a lot of people that overindulge suffer from heartburn. First of all, tell us how heartburn works exactly and what are the causes?
Okay, so often people are suffering from heartburn because what happens is that we tend to overeat. And we all know that. So your stomach will stretch to about the size of a liter. And that just means that the more pressure that gets put on, what happens is that things can start to regurgitate up, and that can cause a lot of havoc. You start to feel some acid coming up. So you want to make sure that you eat slowly, that you're waiting, 20 minutes before going back for seconds, which can be something that we're kind of a little bit, if you got a big family like mine, you got to get back up there. Otherwise, it's going to be gone by the time that you get back. But it's also important to make sure that you are taking care of your health. So you continue to exercise,
Right.
try to limit your alcohol intake because that's going to increase your heartburn. So some things that you can do, I know apple cider vinegar seems to be all the rage right now.
Yeah.
It does help with digestion. You can do it in a little shot. We have it in liquid form as well. That can be beneficial. Fermented foods. So I have some kombucha here. Maybe you're eating some yogurt, or it's sort of that time of the year that you can have the pickles, the olive, things that are fermented, pickled. These types of things also help to improve your gut health. And also reach for charcuterie boards. I mean, everyone makes them.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. Make sure if you're making them and you're in charge, make sure that you're putting fruits and vegetables on here.
Smart.
So
Yeah.
we still want to indulge in the meat and cheese, but have some healthy options on here. Gravitate towards those. Drink lots of water, and this will help to improve some of these symptoms.
Well, you
So
mentioned
maybe
drink.
just kick back and
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned drinking, and you did mention, as we overindulge, we tend to drink more alcohol, and it has a big effect on that hangover. We all know what causes the
yes.
hangover. What are some of the solutions for a hangover?
Okay, so some things that you can do is, to prevent it, you can alternate between alcohol and water, fizzy drinks. These are always really great alternatives when you do get that hangover. Things like B vitamins and vitamin C help your body to process alcohol. So maybe it's taking some extra B and C vitamins, having some foods that are rich in vitamin C. You can do it B complex. Also for electrolytes, things like coconut water, that's a really great way to replace the electrolytes. If you're starting to feel like a headache, a glass of water, some lavender on your temples, these can be really, really helpful. So, you want to try to prevent it a little bit, but we get it. It happens.
Right.
So make sure you have some of these things on hand.
Next up, I mentioned the winter months, so the cold months are here. We find ourselves, indoors a little bit more, and we start getting those sniffles
hmm
and sore throats. And sore throats are a big one. First of all, what are some of the reasons that we would get sore throats, and what are some of the solutions?
Right. So your sore throat could be caused by a cold, flu. It could be a virus. Sometimes people suffer from strep throat. That can also cause a sore throat. And I mean, these are obviously, when you're talking about a bacterial infection, you need to consult with a doctor so that you can get perhaps on a course of antibiotics, right? So, want to just make that clear. Strep throat is completely different.
Right.
But if you do have a sore throat, there are things that you can do to help alleviate some of that pain. So, even a teaspoon of honey, I have some honey here, and that helps to coat the throat. So, it helps to retain moisture, it helps to decrease that dryness. Echinacea is something that's great for helping to decrease the duration of a cold, decreasing the
Okay.
symptoms of a cold. Lots of garlic and onions. These are great. They have antiviral properties to them. Um, Gargling with salt water. I know this is something that not a lot of people love to do,
No, but it
but it
works.
does really, it does,
Yeah.
really, really does. So gargling with salt water, super simple. And the last thing, okay, so sore throats can also be caused by dryness. Right now, we turn on our heaters in our homes and it's really, really dry. So make sure you have a humidifier on if you are, feeling extra dry in the night. Make sure there's one in your room. And if you don't have one at home, super easy. Always did this as a kid. Take a towel, wet it, wring it out, and hang it on a chair beside your bed.
Oh, great idea.
Perfect way to introduce moisture.
Joyce, I've run out of time, unfortunately. I know you wanted to talk about
That's okay.
stress and sleeplessness, and I know melatonin being a big one. Bananas I see in front of you there, something to take before bed to help out. Always a pleasure having you on the show. Really appreciate you spending time with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Don't go anywhere. Coming up after the break, we're going to introduce you to an author that's done a very unique thing in promoting her book. We'll be back with that after this.